Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, Nerd Mode On, and welcome to episode 5 of Battle Reports, a video series where I'll be going over a particular weapon in Battlefield 1 and breaking down the statistics of the weapon to provide you guys with a better idea of how the weapon will perform on the battlefield. Now, for today's episode, we're actually going to be taking a look at the Autoloading 8. Now, of course, in real life, this weapon is actually known as the Remington Model 8. The Remington Model 8 is a semi-automatic rifle designed by John Browning and produced by Remington Arms. The rifle was originally introduced as the Remington Autoloading rifle, but was changed a few years later to the Remington Model 8. The primary market for the Remington Model 8 was sport hunting, however the rifle was used as a police gun modified to use a detachable extended capacity magazine alongside other alterations. It is also worth noting that Remington created 4 new calibers for the Model 8 rifle. These cartridges were rimless designs to allow reliable feeding from a box magazine. This rifle was the first truly reliable, medium-powered semi-automatic rifle ever commercialized. Now, transferring back over to Battlefield 1, we do notice that the Autoloading 8 does have 3 available variants that are permitted on the battlefield. To start things off, we have the Autoloading 8 35 caliber Factory, the Autoloading 8 35 caliber Marksman, and last but not least, the Autoloading 8 25 caliber Extended. Now with that being said, let's break it down a little bit further and give you guys some additional information in correlation to some of the variants that are permitted for the Autoloading 8. To start things off, we have the Autoloading 8 35 caliber Factory, which gives you the benefits of it being lightweight, which means it'll recover faster from recoil, ultimately making the rifle more accurate. Next in line, we have the Autoloading 8 35 caliber Marksman, which gives you the benefits of it having better accuracy in comparison to the factory variant, alongside the addition of a telescopic sight. And last but certainly not least, we have the Autoloading 8 25 caliber Extended, which gives you the benefits of it having a bigger magazine and less recoil at the expense of a smaller bullet, thus granting you with a less powerful round. So now that we've broken down the 3 available variants for the Autoloading 8, let's transfer over to the analytical statistics to give you guys a better idea of how the weapon will perform on the battlefield. Now it is worth noting that since the Autoloading 8 is chambered in 2 different calibers in Battlefield 1, the damage model and some other statistics are going to slightly differ from each other as a due result of the different calibers. Now with that being said, the Autoloading 8 does have a rounds per minute coming in at 359 rounds per minute. Now to put this into perspective, this is actually the fastest rounds per minute weapon that is available in the medic category. This semi-automatic rifle is granted with a velocity clocking in at 660 meters per second, however it is not the fastest in Battlefield 1, being beat out by some of the other competitive weapons that are more designated for medium to long range. Now transferring over to the damage model, we're going to be talking about the 35 caliber to start with, and then of course we'll transfer over to the 25 caliber, considering that the 35 caliber does have an additional variant that is permitted for the Autoloading 8. This semi-automatic rifle will do a maximum of 42 damage up until about 34 meters. Now after 34 meters, you'll notice a gradual decline of the overall damage being outputted at range. And as a result, the minimum damage that this weapon will occupy is 30 damage at approximately 52 meters. Now moving back over to the 25 caliber round, we do notice that the Autoloading 8 does do a maximum of 38 damage up until approximately 12 meters. Now after 12 meters, we'll notice a gradual decline of the overall damage being outputted at range. And as a result, the minimum damage that this weapon can occupy is 21 damage at approximately 32 meters. Now to put this into layman's terms, all this really means is that if you're using the Autoloading 8 chambered in 35 caliber, it's going to take approximately 2 to 4 rounds to down an individual player. However, in the off chance that you've decided to chamber the Autoloading 8 in 25 caliber, it will take anywhere from 2 to 5 rounds to down an individual player. Now a special note in this regard is that if you're able to couple a few headshots in there, it will decrease your time to kill, thus saving you a few rounds. So of course you will definitely see the benefit of attempting to get a headshot while in the midst of combat. Now moving right along, depending on which caliber you decide to chamber your Autoloading 8, this will ultimately depend on how much ammunition you have available in your reserve, as well as your active ammunition in the rifle. The Autoloading 8 chambered in 35 caliber only grants players with a 5-round magazine, so of course it's going to be in your best interest to try to couple a few headshots in there, considering that most of your ammunition is going to be utilized on one individual target. However, the autoloading 8 chambered in .25 caliber does grant you with 16 rounds, so of course you do have a 15 round magazine and one in the chamber, granting you with 16 rounds in total. Now in Battlefield 1, the variant system has definitely altered and shaken some of the core mechanics that the Battlefield series has been known for in terms of its customization. This time around, DICE opted to make things a little bit more simplistic for some of the newer players that have since joined the Battlefield series, and as a result, we have definitely seen the customization screen altered from its original value. Players utilizing the Autoloading 8 will still notice that there are some minute customization options that allow them to personalize the weapon as well as fill a role when it comes down to the battlefield. Now, while the customization in Battlefield 1 may be limited in comparison to its predecessors, of course we do notice that there are different options that are available to be enabled and or disabled on the rifle itself. Some of the options that are available for players is that you have the ability to place a bayonet on the end of your rifle. Alongside that, you can change the overall appearance of the iron sights. Granted, the default ones are usually sufficient enough. Depending on if you are granted with a telescopic sight, you do of course have the ability to change the scope reticule, which can definitely give you an advantage when it comes down to medium and long range combat. And last but not least, the ability to have a weapon camouflage on your rifle may give you that little bit of flair when it comes down to the battlefield, or allow you to camouflage yourself into the environment a little bit better. But anyway guys, that's really all the information I have for you. Hopefully you found something in the video insightful and or entertaining. But until the next episode guys, this has been NMO, and I'm going to be signing out guys. Peace!